Hi there! In today's video, I'm going to show you one of my absolute favorite resources to use in the classroom. Up to this point, we've talked about Google surveys and we've showed you how to complete and create your own Google survey. Today, we're going to show you how to create Google quizzes using Google Forms. So if you start in your Drive, you're going to go ahead and click on your blue New button like we've done in the past. From here, you're going to go ahead and scroll down to More, and then to Google Forms to open up a new blank template. So all of this is going to be very similar to as you would do for creating a survey, but here's the big difference. You want to go to the little gear, which is your settings. Once you're here, there's a couple things I want to make sure that you have done. You want to collect email addresses, so make sure you have that box checked. You want to limit it to one response, that way people can't take this quiz more than one time. You don't need to go to presentation unless you're planning on doing different sections. But if you'd like to add a confirmation message for when they complete the quiz or if they complete the assignment, you can. I usually have something along the lines of this. Great job. Now that you have completed this assignment, please begin your AR reading. And then I'm going to click on Quizzes next. This is the really big important thing. You want to make sure you click on this little button that says Make this a quiz. When you do, you have all these different options here. Now you also want to consider how you want to release the grade. So if you want students to see immediately what they got right and what they missed, you can have immediately after each submission to release the grade. Or if, for example, you have a longer period. So if you're assigning this on Monday, saying, okay, complete this by Friday, I would recommend doing later after manual review. Just that way students won't be able to share answers amongst themselves. So keep that in mind. So I'm just going to keep it as immediately for now. So I'm just going to assume that we're doing it the day of. And I'm going to click Save. From here, I'm going to title my form. I've also opened up already another assignment that I plan to turn into a form. So for instance, this is a worksheet that in the past you would have just printed out and given to your kids, but to kind of show you how to update and kind of make it more engaging, we're going to turn this worksheet into a Google form and it will be graded for us. So I'm going to title this, let's see what unit is this, Unit 1, Week 1. So I'm going to title this guy Spelling Unit 1, Week 1. Now remember, if you go up top here and click on this little guy where it says Untitled Form, it'll automatically change over to your same topic that you put up here. For my form description, I'm just going to write complete this form to show your understanding of this week's spelling words. Okay. Your first question is always your student's first and last name. So I'm going to type first name there. It's already short answer form because it kind of picked up that it's the first name. I'm going to click required. They have to answer this question before they submit it. I'm going to duplicate it and then title this last name. And now I'm going to do something a little different. I want to give some instructions on what they need to do for the first section. So I'm going to click on the title here. So the two T's are like your title button. And I'm going to take a look at my worksheet and see what the directions are. Now you can copy and paste if you have something like this already up on your computer. So I'm just going to simply capture it, copy it, and paste it in. So A, write the spelling word that best completes each sentence. Good to go. Now I'm going to add a question underneath it. Okay. So I'm looking and I know I'm going to have 10 questions. They're all going to be short answer responses. And I also notice here that there's a word box. Now, if you would like to include the word box in your form, there's a really simple way that you can do it. You would simply just need to screenshot the word box. So if you're using a Mac, it's going to be Command-Shift-4. And you'll notice you see this little kind of target sign. You're going to go ahead and press down, and you're going to stretch it across the image that you would like to capture. You'll hear the little screenshot sound, camera sound. And you'll notice that it popped up right here on my desktop. So here it is. It was on my desktop. I'm going to title it just so I can find it easily. So I'm going to title it Unit 1, Week 1, Word Box. Done. Saved to my desktop. Now I'm going to go back to my Google form, and I want to add this image. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is clicking back to where my title was here, and then I'm going to add image. So if you click this third icon down, it will add an image. It's going to ask you how you want to add your image. Since I've saved it to my desktop, I'm going to upload it. You'll see here I have Unit 1, Week 1 Word Box. There it is. That's what I want. I'm going to open it. It'll show you what it's going to look like, and it'll pop it right in. Now it's underneath my directions. So perfect. Now you can leave it like this. That's perfectly fine. Or I'm kind of noticing now that there's a spot for an image title. What I might do is just copy this and keep that as my title. There we go. So now I have first name, last name, I have a title, I have a word box, and now I'm going to begin my questions. So for question number 1, I'm going to put number 1 and take a look at what they have. So she is the drum player in a band. So I'm going to copy it up to this point, paste it in. Okay, and now that I have it pasted in, I'm going to go ahead and just do that line. That way my students know that you need to insert a word to complete the sentence here. And then what I'm going to do next is change this to short answer. Now, if you wanted to do a drop-down box, you could totally do that. You could type up all 20 words, have a huge drop-down box, and they could select it. But my thinking is that since this is a spelling page, I want my students to spell the word, right? That's kind of the purpose of it. So I'm going to do short answer. You can see here that this is where they would type in the answer. And you'll notice that something different that we didn't have on the surveys is there's a spot that says answer key. And we're going to come back to this in just a moment. But before we go to the answer key, we want to make sure our questions are required. Good to go there. Now that I have short answer, it's required, and my question looks the way I want it to look, I'm going to click on this button that says answer key. When I click on it, it's going to kind of look a little different because now it says list correct answers, and there's a point value box at the top right corner. I'm going to make this question worth 1 point. And then here it says add a correct answer. So I know the correct answer is band, so I'm going to type in band. And now keeping in mind that a computer is going to be grading this, you can leave it like so and just tell your students, hey, you need to make sure that this is a lowercase word, this is coming in the middle of the sentence, it's not a proper noun, etc. Or if you want to go ahead and make things a little bit easier for them, you can put 2 correct answers in. So I can have a capitalized band in here. That way if they put the lowercase or the capitalized version, both of them will be considered correct. To do so, I need to click this box though. Mark all other answers incorrect. Okay, so now both answers are correct. It doesn't matter what version of the word students put in, as long as they have one of these 2 options, their answer will be marked correct. I would recommend maybe starting off with these 2 options if it's your very first form with your students. But as the year progresses, I would really recommend getting rid of this capitalized one and just telling the students, you know what, you got to make sure that it's lowercase because that's our proper English. We don't capitalize common nouns in the middle of a sentence. Just what I would do. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and go back to edit question. And now you'll be able to see down below in green, it says correct answers are band with a lowercase or band with an uppercase. Okay. Now I'm going to continue on with my questions. I have number 2 to do next. So I'm going to duplicate this question because it's the same format. It needs to be required. So I'm going to go ahead and just type in 2, obviously, instead of my 1. Go back to my other page. I'm going to copy my sentence. I'm going to paste it in. And then I'm going to create my blank line with a period. Everything looks good. I'm going to go to my answer key. Now this time, instead of putting my correct answers in, I'm going to get rid of those old ones. And I'm going to leave it like this for now. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm going to go ahead and duplicate all my questions first. And then after I've made my form, I'm going to go in one by one and create the answer keys for them. I personally think this is just personally saves me time doing it this way rather than every single time fixing the correct answer and typing in the new one. You'll see as I kind of continue where you'll pick up some time here. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate number 3, duplicate number 4, duplicate number 5, duplicate 6, duplicate 7, duplicate 8, 9, and then 10. Okay, so now I have all of my questions that I need. I'm going to go ahead and quickly plug in all of my sentences. There we go, plugging the rest in. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've plugged in all of my questions. So now I need to go ahead and do my answer key. Now, as I mentioned before, I showed you how to do the answer key with number 1, but for number 2, I duplicated the question before doing the answer key, just because I said it would probably save you a little bit more time, and here's why. Now when I go to the answer key, I don't need to X out of the possible answers from the question before. I just have to plug in the right word for this one. So I did not have enough blank on me to pay for it. I think that word is cash. It is, so I'm going to write cash. And I'm also going to do the correct capitalized version as well for the correct answer. So you'll see here, same thing. He brought the ball to gym class. Gym. Next one, answer key. Car tires will crunch. Capitalize. And there you have it. So that's pretty much what you're going to do for each of the questions. So this is my first section here. Now, I also noticed that I have a second section. So I have a part B where I'm writing the spelling words to match the definitions below. You can choose to set this form up in 2 different ways. You can either continue the same way that I showed you at the top by inserting a text box and inserting a title and just having it all on one page. Or if you would like to have 2 separate sections, which means they cannot see the next section until they've completed the first section of the form, you could click on that, which is Add Section. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it, Add Section. So now you see it says after section 1, continue to the next section. And here's a new one. So it's almost like 2 forms that are hyperlinked together. So when they're done with this first half, there will be a button down here, and I'll show you what it looks like. And then it will take them to this next section. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and put in an image of that same text box that I pulled already because I know I'm going to need it for this next section. So there I have it here. And I'm just going to call this Part 2 Spelling Form. Unit 1, Week 1. There we go. For my title, I'm going to go ahead and copy the B, write the spelling word that matches each definition below, copy it, capture it, paste it where I want it. And then I'm going to press my plus button for questions below. All right, so now I'm on to question number 11. Copy, paste. I'm going to make sure it's a short answer. Required, answer key, worth 1 point. I'm not going to put my answers in yet, remember, because I want to duplicate first. So I can mark my box, I'll go back to edit, and then I'm going to go through and duplicate all the way to number 20, because that's the end. So, duplicate 12, duplicate 13, 15, 16, 17, and so on and so forth. So once I've gone ahead and I've plugged in each of these numbers, I'm going to follow that same format that I did up above. Okay, so I'm just going to copy and paste the answers that I need, and then I'm going to go right into my answer key and one by one type in the correct answer. Okay, blot, capitalized version as well. Okay. So give me just a second here. I'm going to go ahead and plug in the rest of this. That way you can see what the finished form is going to look like. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've plugged in all of my responses and answers for each of these. So you can see that when I go back to my editing, you're able to see my correct answers. Everything looks good. So now that the form is completed, all my questions are put in. It's up to you if you want to dress it up a little. You can do that by going to your color palette. You can select an image or color. I just always do images. You can do some really cute, fun ones. There's some that move, you can see. Maybe I'll do sports and games. I'll do the basketball one. Okay. And then you'll see here that it's going to reflect whatever option I chose. The last thing I'm going to do is go ahead and view the form as a student so I can kind of see. You can do that by clicking on the eye at the top. You can see what it looks like if I were to take this form. First name, last name, see all my questions with my word box. And then here's what I was talking about when it takes you to the next section. So if you hit next, you have to make sure everything's filled out first, obviously, before you can do it. So I'll just go ahead and do a quick sample. So I'm going to do sample, and then I'll just type in some answers. So, and this one's going to be Bluff. I have enough cash. Gym. Crunch. Ooh, so I'm seeing an error here. So that FLR was made at this. So I need to go back and look at what 6 should be. Flower was made at this. So I need to go back and fix it. I'll do it on this end. Flower. There we go. It's going to be mill. And then I'm just going to plug in some answers for the rest of these, just so you can see what the next section looks like. All right, and then it says Part 2, Spelling Form Unit 1, Week 1. So now this is the second section that we are working on. And then finally, they can go back and review their answers if they need to, or they can submit it, whichever they'd like to do. I'm going to go back to the editing here, and actually I'll fill this out so you can see what it looks like on the respondents side. Okay, so I'm going to submit it. I can view my score right away. So here's where I typed in my little completion memo. So great job. Now that you've completed this assignment, please begin your AR reading. I can view my score by clicking here. And then I'll see, oh, I got 10 out of 20. And then it'll tell you the right answers and the wrong answers. Okay, so that's kind of just something neat to kind of look into if you would like to have your quizzes and assignments graded. I'm going to go back to edit. And the last thing I'm going to show you is what it looks like on the teacher end. So that was the student end, that's what they see. Now for you, after you're going back and reviewing how students did, you'll see they have these beautiful, nice median, averages, and range points for you. And they also have frequently missed questions, which is helpful. You'll be able to see the email address and the score for the students that you have, first name, last names, and then their individual responses. Now, obviously, the more students you have, the longer these boxes are going to be. So this is really nice because you can just easily plug right into your grade books. Now, if you want to see an individual student, though, you can click individual, and you're able to see their personal assessment or test or assignment. Okay. This is really nice because when I have parents asking about, oh, why'd they get 10 out of 20 on this assignment? Oftentimes what I do is I hit this little print response here, print it out, and I send it home with them. Now, when I release these scores, so here it says release score, they do get to see it automatically, but this also gets released to their email. So I let parents have access to their username and passwords. They're in their agendas anyway, so I just kind of direct parents into checking the mail to see how they did on these assessments and on these tests. Okay, so that is the general gist of how to create Google Forms. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something from it, and I really hope you're able to incorporate this into your classroom. As I've said, this is probably definitely my favorite resource that I've used in the classroom that has really made my life as a teacher a lot easier. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks.